Two men went scuba diving at Little Springs River on November 26, 2003. Although they were both very familiar with this cave system, they encountered problems and ended up in a terrible scenario while diving. If you like our cave diving films but haven't subscribed yet, why not? Please think about following our channel. In the northern portion of Florida in the Spring Country region is Little River Springs. Approximately 125 acres of land are occupied by it in the Suwannee River County Park. In contrast to the Suwannee River's tea-colored water, the Little River Springs is transparent. They differ in temperature as well. The Little River Springs offers a variety of leisure activities, including the well-like snorkeling, swimming, canoeing, kayaking, and scuba diving that attracts many divers. One of North Florida's most well-liked cave diving locations is Little River. The well-known Devil's Eye and Devil's Ear and other locations including Peacock and Cow Spring are all close to the cave. The spring is roughly 150 feet long and contains a 1,200-foot-long cave system. You'll find a few bypasses and offshoots in addition to the one main tunnel, 27 to 30 m. One of the cave's most remarkable features can be found inside the first 100 feet, when you descend an underwater corkscrew to reach the main room. You will find that the cave's system changes as you progress farther inside. Compared to the beginning of the cave, which has enormous stone tunnels and pure water, it gets larger and lower and has more silt covering its walls and flooring. The well casing is visible if you can scuba dive all the way to the end of the cave. Here, you can observe a man-made well that a farmer dug into the spring to enjoy the spring's sparkling water. Jerry DUWAYNE BEETS, 42, and his uncle Kane Overfield went diving in Little River Springs on November 26, 2003, the day before Thanksgiving, 46 years old. Jerry and Kane were both qualified cave divers with years of expertise. Jerry even held a diving instructor certification. Up to 20 times have they previously dove into the Little River Springs cave. They only anticipated an 80-minute dive for this one. In the middle of the day, they each began their dive while using their scooters, also known as Diver Propulsion Vehicles, DPV. The scooters are utilized to extend their underwater range. Additionally, scooters help divers move between different dive sites more quickly and save more oxygen. They had to use the primary gold line, which is close to the 100 feet arrow, to dive into the water body. Divers can access the top, middle, or bottom of the chimney through a number of shortcut tunnels. Jerry and Kane agreed to monitor their air using the thirds guidelines while they resumed their dive. Divers will utilize 1/3 of the air to enter the cave, 1/3 of the air to exit the cave, and 1/3 of the air for emergency use if necessary. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this concept. Therefore, once either of them used up 1/3 of their air, Kane and Jerry would begin returning to the surface. They reasoned that in order for this to occur, they must have reached well casing. They both knew that even though getting to the well casing is dangerous, a diver once drowned after doing so in March 2003. Although Jerry and Kane were both qualified divers with experience, it's possible that something happened to him because he was unskilled. To prevent this, they knew what to do at the well casing. Little River only has one main tunnel, as was previously mentioned. Following the main route, divers can choose to enter the merry-go-round or serpentine tunnels when they reach 900 feet below the surface. But both tunnels come together in the large Florida room. They had to take the permanent line down a sharp left and turn into the cave in order to reach the well casing. Visibility must be kept up as they descend further to prevent becoming lost. To continue, they had to dive through the dome room's lower portion and over a sizable sand breakdown pile. This part of the path is covered in a thick layer of mud and silt, as opposed to the stony passageways they passed through earlier. Divers must park their scooters aside after bringing them all the way down to this area and turning them off. Without it, they will carry on with their journey. Before Kane noticed that his nephew Jerry had stopped following him, they were heading in the direction of this well casing. He continued on for another 200 to 300 feet or so before realizing he was alone. There was no sign of Jerry. Kane is perplexed because he had initially believed that Jerry was following him. He then made the decision to go back to the well casing and check to see if Jerry was present. When they reached the well casing, an unforeseen event occurred. The well casing was clogged with silt. Silt out in diving refers to the silt on the wall surface being disturbed, which significantly reduces visibility. Kane was unable to see much of anything. Kane did not pause for very long. He started scouring the mud for Jerry. After a little period of hunting, he came across Jerry and grabbed him. Kane thought Jerry appeared to be doing fine, but soon after, Kane let him go since he had to fix his scooter on the line. After accomplishing that, he attempted to grab his nephew once more, but Jerry had vanished. In the mud, he became lost. Kane entered the murky water to look for him, even though he was unable to see him. He kept swimming through the mud until he reached the crystal clear waters. Kane began hammering on his tank in the hopes that Jerry would hear him and return to the crystal clear water. But after a time, he stopped banging. Jerry would have likely utilized the sound left before him and entered the spring, he reasoned. Kane began his decompression process before returning to the surface. To his greatest shock, Jerry wasn't what he first thought. He understood that Jerry had become lost in the mud, so he shouted for assistance to the diver who was close. Tommy Roberts, one of the cops at Little River Springs, was located by Kane. When they were about to start looking for Jerry, he had remained in the cave for an additional 45 minutes. Tommy found a few other divers and together, they started looking. 4 divers went into the cave to look for him, but they came up empty-handed. What was possible for Jerry? He was at the Florida room's end when they started his second search. One of the rooms inside the cave is called the Florida room, and it was around 1,200 feet from the entrance. He appeared to be dead. He was given air by the search crew, but he ignored it. His fuel tank was empty. The rescue crew that entered the cave to retrieve his body and the 2 scooters was called by the Little River Springs police. Jerry's scooter was located around 328 feet after the dome room, whereas Kane's scooter was discovered hooked to the line at the well casing. Jerry seems to have scuffed his scooter on the cave walls while attempting to exit. His scooter's entire body was covered in clay. Tommy added that if Jerry had been struggling with the scooter, the silt would have ended up on the propeller. This would have confused him, and since the silt had reduced visibility, he might not have been able to find his way out. During his final struggle to flee, Jerry must have been utterly terrified. Jerry couldn't get away and drowned. Jerry passed away, leaving behind a baby and his wife. Later, he was laid to rest at the Catholic Church of St. John the Apostle. Jerry was clearly adored by his friends and family as seen by the attendants at his funeral. Another heartbreaking tale came to a devastating end when a cave diver who got lost in the silted cave perished. What, in your opinion, might Jerry have done differently in this circumstance? Comment below and let us know. If you like what you saw, click the bell icon, like, and subscribe buttons to be notified when we post another thrilling cave diving story.